So hi, I'm Tim, this is Neil. We just wanted to come back to this afternoon and kind of give you a little bit of update of some of the concerns or questions that have come up since we've put out our reopening plan. One of the emails I got was from one of you that's going to be continuing to watch it online, and just want to remind you we'll be filming it at 8:30, but we will include the entire service, and so our goal is that we'll upload that to our website and YouTube within half an hour. It does take some time, so that's one of the questions that came up. I guess some of the bigger things are just to update how we're going to come and go to services. Maybe you could talk about that, Neil, the entry points and how we're trying to limit access to different parts of the building, different services.
Yeah, so we are working our best, and we're working on it as we go, and we're going to be learning as we do it. So thank you so much for your grace with this. But for the 8:30 and 6 p.m. services, you'll be able to enter right through these main entrance doors. I say these like you can see it, but through our main entrance, right in the middle of our building, and walk right into the sanctuary that way. The 10:30 service, the one that's going to be outside on our patio back area, we're asking that you walk around the south side of the building. The south side doors will be open, but if you're able, go ahead and walk around. And just for your information, the outside service, the restrooms inside our activity center will be available for people to use. So that's going to be a thing if you're here at that service and nervous about it. Otherwise, we're still working out details for how we're going to do communion. It's going to be different, but how great is it that we're thinking about getting to take communion together? That will be very good. And those are kind of the main things that we're thinking about walking through the building.
Yeah, I get, the communion is, somebody mentioned at staff meeting this morning, I'm like, I hadn't really thought about the emotional impact, but this is really going to be neat to have communion our first Sunday back. It is going to be different and complicated too, because we're not going to hand things out, so just be watching for directions when you come in the room. We're going to probably ask people to grab their own set of elements, and then we'll have the communion part of the service early in the service. The other big question that's come up has been, again, how are we going to limit the size? And we don't want to be heavy-handed about this at all. We don't want to have, like, I think I might have said this in the update last week, but we don't want to be heavy-handed like we got people at the door saying you can't come in. But we do really want to honor the guidelines that are kind of common sense health guidelines right now with what we know about this and what we don't know about this. We want to be able to do social distance. We want to encourage face masks. People who are leading, people who are volunteering, who are here will be setting that example. We really encourage you to pre-register and to honor that. If you haven't pre-registered, then plan just coming to the outdoor service. If it becomes an issue, we'll have to adjust, and I don't know what that's going to look like at this point. But if we feel like we're getting 60 or 70 people in the sanctuary, we're not comfortable with that as leadership at this point. So we'll find some ways to adapt. But again, we're working this out as we go. So I'm not sure what we'll do, but we'll have to make some sort of adjustment to be able to honor that. I think those are the major.
Yeah, and you can get that. It's BibleEFC/events is where you can go to register for the services. Yep. And please do that in advance, because again, that's how we're trying to take precautions and again, care for one another by working ahead like that. It's totally new. It's not something we're excited about having to do.
Yeah,
but we're thankful that it's a way for us to begin to gather together again. So please do register in advance, BibleEFC.events. Oh, and also for our 10:30 service, we are offering registration for that, but that's only if it rains. So if it rains on that Sunday and we're doing the service inside, the inside seating will be for those who've registered in advance, because that one then will be limited by our space issues and social distancing again. And I would say, as I think about this, here's a passage, Philippians 2, it's well known, but Paul says, do nothing from selfish ambition or conceit, but in humility count others more significant than yourselves. Let each of you not only look to his own interest, but also to the interest of others. Have this mind among yourselves, which is yours in Christ Jesus. And I think that what that says to me is that as we re-enter, and as this is not like any of us would want it to be, I hope that we're able to be gracious with one another, we're able to love one another, and in particular, if I could speak to those of you who we might call kind of the long-termers, people who've been a part of the church family for a long time, if there's an opportunity for us to give up our rights, maybe it's to step out of a service if it's getting too full so others can attend, I would encourage you to consider doing that, because it's ways we can love people and ways we can make them feel welcome. And it's not fun to have to think about how do we keep it at 50. That's a really hard conversation. But if we can put one another first, then I know that we've got church members who could say, hey, we can come back later if that helps a person come in and be able to enjoy the service. So I would just ask that from our church family, we be thinking of one another and looking for chances to serve, even if it's not what we would normally do, just so we can love others and demonstrate hospitality to those who are going to be coming to be a part of our church.
Yeah, good.
So I know, Tim, that you had offered on weeks you weren't preaching to watch kids in the nursery, but we decided that probably wasn't the best way to go. So we've talked about nursery, and the game plan is at first we won't offer nursery. So there's not going to be childcare available, and we're kind of planning on that through the month of June, and hopefully we can reconsider that. But we did want to make that clear so parents could come understanding kind of how we're doing it. But yeah, so make arrangements in that way. Be prepared that there's not going to be childcare available during this first kind of re-entry point, unless you reconsider.
Right. I'll pray about that, as you would say.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.